All right, we are now live, ladies and gentlemen. So we're a little light on the panel tonight. Just me and Metal Trooper. Hancock texted me about 20 minutes ago saying he couldn't make it, and I haven't heard back from Andrew. 555 Gear. I sent him a text message and an invite and stuff, so I don't know what's going on there. But we may have a shorter chat tonight because of that. So we'll just kind of go through and run down who's in the chat right now, and then we'll kind of get started. We got Kelly Parks, Stump Greenwood, South Carolina, Ben Long, 1018, Hawaii Volcano Squad, Terry Miles, and I think that's it for now. Oh, I hear myself in the background. There we go. Mute helps. So, Metal Trooper, what's going on, man?
Oh, not much. Just been prepping some new videos. I actually went ahead and downloaded Windows Movie Maker, so I've been playing around with that. So hopefully, I'll be able to edit my videos and stuff where they'll be a little bit better. I've got I have a Romanian SAR-2, which is an AK-47 or AK-74, but it's from 1999, so it's one that when it came in the country, it was neutered. It didn't have the muzzle brake on it. It didn't have the got the bayonet lugs ground off. But I found a place that makes a threaded attachment that you press on the end of your barrel, because the Romanian 74s were kind of like the Bulgarians, where the front sight block is one piece with the threads. The barrel's not actually threaded. So
Yeah.
I got that one I'm going to mess around with. And the parts I got from were JMac Customs and CNC Warrior. So I'm going to show how to do that. But then I got to tweak a little bit of my Mosin project that I did. I refinished my Mosin Nagant, and I'm kind of tweaking that a little bit since I got the editing thing now. So,
Yeah, Windows Movie Maker is really easy to use, man.
yeah, I watched a few tutorials on it. I was like, oh, this is going to be simple.
It is, and it is surprisingly, you can do some cool stuff with it too. I use that for probably 75% of my videos, and then I use, like, when I have to do some, like, picture-in-picture stuff, like, I'll use Sony
Right.
Vegas Pro, but Windows Movie is just so easy to use. I don't, find a need to use anything else. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't have enough time to sit and edit my videos either.
yeah. Well, one of my main issues was if I was videotaping something and I had to stop because I do all my stuff on my phone, and if I had to stop it for longer than 30 or 40 seconds, when I started again, it would start a whole new video. So, like in some of my earlier build videos, some of them are like only anywhere from 2 to 4 minutes, and there's like 6 parts. So I kind of want to do that to where, I really try not to go over 10 minutes on a video, but at least I can get it a little bit more in depth and in detail, and not have to worry about, the time in that.
Yeah, I try to keep most of my videos around the 10-minute mark, unless it's something that takes longer, that you can't avoid. But
Right.
I sometimes I'll be watching a video that's like 20 minutes long, and I'm like, I don't have the attention span for 20 minutes about.
Yeah, see, it really depends, because there's a guy that he does some awesome build videos, and some of his videos are a little over a half hour, but there's so much detail, and he gets so into it, in just the little bitty things that it keeps me interested. But yeah, I'm kind of like you. If it's longer than 15, 20 minutes, then it's not a subject that I'm really, really interested in, then I kind of lose interest in it.
Well, I watch a guy that does a lot of knife reviews like myself, and I like his videos, but I don't know how he talks for 20 minutes. I
Yeah.
just when I sit down and talk about a knife, I mean, unless it's like a video where I did like 10 of them, then it might be 20 minutes long. But one knife for 20 plus minutes, I was like, whoa, I don't know what you're doing. And then there's Not Fancy who makes like a 40-minute video on knives. It's like,
well, I can see. I've watched some channels like that, and it seems they repeat themselves, a few times. And I know sometimes I've done that in the past, so I try to watch that to where I'm not, repeating myself over and over again.
Yeah, it's hard. Sometimes you do it and you don't even notice. So
right. Yeah.
But I rarely don't really ever, film a video, then edit it, then go back and watch it before I upload it. And pretty much I'll watch it as I'm editing it, and if I don't catch it then it's it's going on live the video.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple new ones. We got Urban to Country Homestead and Shrunk Back Gym. And yep, I think that's it. Terry Miles said you should download a app for your phone called Viva Video.
Okay.
It's a free app that has some cool features, but I don't know. Do you actually upload? You don't upload your videos from your phone to YouTube, do you, or do you do it from your computer?
I do my videos on my phone, then I'll upload that to my laptop.
Yeah, okay.
And then after I do that, I'll watch it after I upload it to my laptop. And then if it's all okay, then I'll upload it to YouTube. Because I've had some come out to where it was kind of messed up. So I had to, redo the video.
Yeah, that definitely happens.
But now that I got my new phone and that, and my new phone's HD, so I'm able to I'm able to zoom in on stuff like I wasn't able to on my other phone and stuff. So this phone's a lot better than my other one as far as video.
Do you have a tripod?
No, I sure don't.
Because I have a couple tripods. I have an adapter that I got on Amazon that will let you use a smartphone on like a normal, like a nice tripod, not like one of those teeny little ones, but like a full size one.
Okay, yeah, because I got one of the short ones that's probably, it's only about that high, and it clamps onto your phone, but it's real hard to use because it's you gotta pretty much have your phone. It don't elevate your phone high enough.
Yeah.
So some of the times I've used that, I've had I've stacked up like boards or books or whatever to try to get that that.
Then all of a sudden the dog bumps the table and the phone goes flying and yeah. No, I have I'll send you a link. It was really cheap. It was a few bucks on Amazon, this little adapter, and then I think I paid like around $18 or so for the tripod. I've got two of them, and it works good. So when I do my picture-in-picture videos, you have to have two cameras. So I use my phone as one with that adapter, then I use my regular video camera that I always use for my videos. And it actually works out really well. I was going to go out and buy like a GoPro or one of those other cameras, but I
thought about getting a GoPro, and then I was looking at the price of it, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I just don't think I'd use it. I mean, my phone records in 1080p HD. I mean, it actually looks better than my video camera sometimes. So, I just figured I'll just use that, and I haven't done a video like that in a while, but those are not the most fun to edit, that's for sure. They're definitely time consuming.
Yeah, my problem is if I got, a couple $100, I'm more apt to buy, gun related stuff than camera related stuff.
Yeah, that's actually a good transition. We'll talk a little bit about guns right now, and we'll kind of tie it into Ferguson. You were saying that they're not going to release the verdict until the week of Thanksgiving.
That was there's a state state police officer that comes into the shop that I help out at, and that was his guess. They're not even telling them, but from what he has said, they're planning on having more riots other than in Ferguson.
So why would they wait till Thanksgiving? I mean, that's a horrible time to do it. It's like a holiday for families.
Yeah, that was one of the things he mentioned. He said the schools will be already out, and I guess that they're banking on, like you said, that maybe people will be out of town and everything like that. Because I mean, from the way it looks and the way they're talking, he's not going to get charged because I mean, this is it. They're going to find out there's not enough evidence to even take him to trial. So, but yeah, but supposedly the governor of Missouri already declared a national or statewide emergency. The National Guard's already stationed there at Ferguson, close to Ferguson, and so they're just everybody's just kind of doing that waiting game.
LA riots.
Yeah.
After Rodney King.
Yeah.
And the amount of looting that went on then, and I saw a picture on the internet the other day. It was really cool. It was like all these Koreans and such, and Hispanics, I think, and they were up on their businesses with on their roofs with guns, like a whole line of them. Just like they were up on the roofs, and they were taken out. Apparently, they shot quite a few looters, in defense of their business and their family and stuff. And that's kind of what I envision it's going to be like.
Yeah.
Those business owners are going to take I mean, they should, not saying they should go out and just shoot people, but they should defend their property and they shouldn't be a victim to a bunch of thugs and looters that are going to come and take advantage of this situation, because that's all it is.
Yeah.
It's just God, my mustache is itching like crazy. It's just an opportunity for these people to loot and to try to steal stuff and think they can get away with it, and it's I really see this turning into LA riots all over again,
Well, and the whole thing is, it's like most of the looters and stuff, from the riots right after it happened, they weren't even from Ferguson. Most of the peaceful protesters were, the families and business owners that lived and worked in Ferguson, but there's been businesses that have been looted, several times. And then there was another report that the businesses that were boarding up and everything, the protesters said that they're going to specifically target those businesses because, it's like, oh, well, you're going to protect your business. Oh, well, we're going to go screw with you first. It just seems like they want people to just let them do whatever the hell they want, tear up whatever they want, and people have had it. I mean, the citizens and the business owners in Ferguson, they're not going to put up with it.
Well, and they shouldn't, and it's someone corrected me in the comments. It was just Koreans, and they were using SKSs, which is cool.
Now, where was that? Was that in Korea?
No, that was the LA riots. Okay,
the LA riots.
It was in those. I don't know. I'm not terribly familiar with LA, but where it was at. But what's up, Andrew?
Hi guys.
Hey, what's up?
Ferguson, huh?
Yeah, we're just talking a little bit about that and how they've declared a state of emergency in Missouri, and they're getting ready for the verdict to come down. We were just kind of comparing it how the LA riots were back in the day, and how I can really see this happening just like that.
Yeah, it's a super intense situation, and I hope that people keep the goal of peace in mind, because I mean, whatever social protests they're going to attempt violence are going to backfire completely.
Yeah. Well, Michael Brown's parents have already came out a few times and said that they're asking for peaceful protests, no violence and everything like that. And but the whole thing is, the people that are going to do this, they're not doing it because this kid got shot. They're doing it because it's a reason for them to be able to do criminal activities and expect to get away with it.
I also think that it's true that there are people who, I mean, you talk about political agendas or people coming in. There's a real pushback against the militarization of the situation,
Right.
which, I mean, responding in kind is with violence is not the answer.
No, no, because I mean, you know, if you're a police officer and you're getting shot at, you know, I mean, cops should be able to protect themselves too, you know.
Right, of course.
And I'm not standing up for the cops, and I'm not standing up for the rioters. You know, I mean, there's got to be a happy medium there. But when you're doing criminal activities and destroying other people's property and, you know, assaulting innocent people, then, you know, you should be able to protect yourself. Those people have to be protected.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that the kind of people that are going to be inciting violence are doing it for the wrong reasons anyway. I mean, it's just like with other protests we've seen where anarchists look at it as an opportunity to exercise their social platform, which is, of course, at the expense of peace and other citizens' well-being. So it's completely unjustified.
Right.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So, I mean, there's that going on in Missouri, which, you know, is obviously going to happen any day now, and it's gonna be crazy. There was a shooting today at Florida State University in the library. I'm not sure. Does anyone know if that's a gun-free zone? I'm guessing it is.
I would say yes.
That's why there was a shooting.
Yeah.
Not funny, but I'm just saying, like, it's pretty goes hand in hand. Gun-free zone equals shooting.
Yeah. You hear about a shooting, you know, pretty much 99% of the time it's the gun-free zone.
Yeah. It's definitely more likely. I mean, the logic is so obvious. I mean, you're essentially making everyone else more vulnerable, right? I mean,
yeah. To me, it's just an invite for a criminal to say, "Oh, here's an easy target. You know, I can do whatever I want. You know, it's gonna take the police X amount of time to get here. You know, nobody's gonna resist, and you know they take advantage of that."
And I think it's even worse that because the places that we make gun-free zones, they're usually an esteemed place in the community, whether it's a school or a government building or something. So it almost makes the incentive to breaking the gun-free rule even greater.
Right.
So I mean, I think it's just like the opposite. I mean, sort of the opposite effect that it's intending to set out to achieve.
Yeah.
It's making vulnerable school children more vulnerable. Like, I mean, it's really.
Well, I don't know. Politicians haven't got it through their head that, you know, criminals don't obey laws. Well, once they start getting that into their head, then, you know, maybe things will change.
Yeah, well, I think it's also. I think the government needs to realize that people are interested in protecting themselves, and people have the means to protect themselves.
Yeah.
Things will be safer if they allow their citizens to do that. You're actually making it less safe for everyone. The Republicans we voted you to, you know, preserve and further the cause of is in greater danger thanks to your efforts to control the citizenry in a way that is not in accordance with their rights. I mean, yeah, the logic is just baffling.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is that for us it's 100% logic. For the liberals, it's like not. That's why it's so hard to understand where they're coming from, because they just don't get it, you know, and it's sad.
Lack of common sense.
A quick comment on the Florida State thing. One of the guys in the chat, Trunkback Jim, said that the president of the group trying to get concealed carry on campus down there was in the library and tweeted about having to hide under a desk instead of pulling his gun. Um, Now, and I understand your comment. What I was wondering is, do you think he was afraid and that's why he was hid under a desk, or let me rephrase that, afraid of the repercussions of pulling his pistol and shooting the guy because it was a gun-free zone and they didn't have concealed carry, so he could face charges, or was he just terrified of the situation and didn't act? You know, he was scared to hide under a desk. That's what I don't know the details. He just said that in the comments, and it just made me think he was probably more scared about the repercussion of having a concealed carry
Right.
On campus where he shouldn't technically have one by law. You know, and Florida was one of the first states to institute concealed carry, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's interesting that, you know, they've had it there for so long, yet on the school obviously they don't. So maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's not a gun-free zone. Maybe it's just they can't conceal carry on campus. I don't know. I don't know all the details about Florida State, but I just thought that was interesting that, you know, and that brings up a good point of, you know, if you have a gun but there's some law restricting you from using it, but you still have it on your body as a self-defense tool, and you come in that kind of a situation, are you gonna hesitate to use that firearm to defend yourself and other people because you're worried about going to jail afterwards?
Right. He could have, you know, if he did draw his gun and take the shooter out, and there would have been no victims or anything, he would have stood trial and possibly, you know, murder if he would have killed the shooter. You know.
All right.
There's that whole lack of common sense there again. It's just like, you know, somebody shouldn't be, you know, criminalized because, you know, they did the right thing.
And it's not only legal repercussions; it's professional repercussions. I mean, if you have a school board that's run by progressives, and you're a teacher that's unemployed because you're like trying to move to a new area because you were involved with the shooting, you're obviously going to have a huge smirch on your resume right away.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, there's a lot of reasons that, factors that I think would create it, make it very difficult for a teacher in this environment to be willing to defend themselves, and except with ordinary objects that they would end up using as weapons. You know,
Right. Yeah.
which that's the thing that if it comes to that, then it probably didn't need to come to that, right? There's probably a better way that a responsible citizen could have, you know, possibly prevented violence. You know.
Yeah, I guess what they were saying in the comments is that they were saying he didn't have his gun on him because of the gun-free zone. So he was.
He had to leave his gun in his car.
I could have stopped this from happening, but you know, only 3 people were injured, no one critical, from what I was just reading, and the cops came in and shot the. They had a pretty fast response time, and the shooter actually shot at one of the police officers, so they put him down. You know, and no questions asked. You know, that's going to be one of those case closed kind of deals because he shot at the cops. You know?
Yeah, if you shoot at a cop, you know, chances are you're going to get shot back at.
Look at.
Well, and you know, whenever I read these kind of stories, and I think he went in there and he shot at people, but he didn't like really. I think it was more of a suicide by cop kind of deal where he was, you know, wanting to get shot and killed. Because why would he shoot at the cops? And you know, why wouldn't he have shot more people if he really had an agenda to murder people? You know what I mean?
Right.
I got to think, man. I mean, the cops probably took a few minutes to get there, and I would have thought he could have probably taken out like quite a few people if he really wanted to. You know, I'm just speculating because this is, you know, I wasn't there. But
It's not unreasonable speculation though, because the murder by cop thing is becoming more and more common, right? I mean, I don't remember the specific numbers, but there's been a number of articles about how that's a very exciting way to commit suicide, right? And at that point, you've lost your regard for your own humanity. So, you know, hurting a few other people, it's just a very, very easy way to make it look like, you know, it wasn't just a coward suicide or something like that. Even though, I mean, it's an insane line of thinking.
Yeah, and Trunkback also said that Florida State has their own police force on campus, so they were able to respond quicker than like your, you know, just your regular. But I thought about where I went to school. I think we had campus police also, but I don't think they had any guns on them or anything. I don't remember them being armed. So what would they do in a situation like that? I don't know. I mean, our university, I know I could conceal carry on campus. So when I was there, and I've done it since then. So I don't think that maybe that's why they don't. I don't know, but so that happened today. And then you have the Ferguson thing happening, and then there's the weather in Buffalo where they're getting about 8 feet of snow.
What the
That's just insane.
And people have actually died from the snowstorm.
Yeah.
I think it's claimed I think I've read 8 to 10 lives right so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are getting trapped in their house.
Well, and this, we were kind of, me and Metal Trooper were kind of chatting before while we're waiting everyone to join about how important, and actually all these topics, mostly Ferguson and Buffalo, are really another reason why we should be prepping. We should be preparing because you never know. We can get 8 feet of. I mean, that scenario in Buffalo is very likely to happen in Salt Lake. I mean, it's come close to happening recently, like where we had, 6 feet of snow and 5 feet of snow at one point, in one small period of time, like we're talking 24 to 48 hours, And we are. What's kind of surprising to me is, you would think that Buffalo, New York, because it snows there pretty frequently, would be more adapt to handle a situation like that, Or is it just so quick that no matter what they did, they just couldn't? There's nothing they could do to, put the roads off, and
Well, it's like everything else. I mean, this happens in the Midwest all the time. You always have a few people die every winter just because, something stupid like they didn't pay their gas bill and they thought they would be okay when a cold snap comes. I mean, we live in such a comfortable society. The prospects of death due to lack of basic provisions is just not even something people think is possible. The town that I'm living in, I was talking to someone today about how in a heavy snowstorm and a couple decades ago, they had to bring in medical supplies by snowmobiles because they couldn't get the roads cleared enough even for emergency vehicles to come through. And I mean, that's all food for thought when you're thinking about what kind of things would you want to have on hand in the event of an emergency during that kind of snowstorm, right? I mean, there's just a lot of things that go wrong other than just bad weather in the midst of bad weather. That, I mean, it seems like a prudent person should be taking care of those things, right?
Yeah. Well, and it brings up a point with that. Those are different types of preps. To handle a cold weather, snowed in type, situation versus something what's happening in Ferguson where you're going to need a different type of prep. You're going to need guns and ammo.
Right.
But it's
body armor.
Yeah, body armor. Yeah. I mean, it's important to prep for all of it, and I think about Ferguson, and if that were to happen here, which what's crazy to me still, and we talked about this last week, is the same kind of scenario happened right here in Salt Lake City, 50. There is no riots. There's nothing going on. There's no state of emergency. It's all blown over.
No media coverage, 24/7 media coverage.
Yeah, we didn't even know. No one really knew about it unless you were in the state. It wasn't a nationally televised thing. I mean, obviously, it's because it was, the reverse situation where it was. Sorry, I felt like something like video playing in the background. I don't know why. It was a reverse situation, but it just kind of made me think, wow, what if that would have happened here and people would have gone crazy and I'd be dealing with the same situation that, actually closer, I think, than Metal Trooper would be, proximity-wise. And, would I be ready for that? And I'm like, yeah. I would be. You know, I've got the guns and I've got the ammo stockpiled, and you know, I would be ready to defend my family and my. I mean, I don't have a business to defend. You know.
Yeah.
Would I go help other people? Like, you know, I kind of thought about that. Is there other people in Ferguson that are going to aid other business owners that aren't business owners? You know, are they going to go to their defense, or are they just going to kind of hold themselves up in their house and, you know, play it safe? You know, that's something to kind of think about too. Is there like a, I don't want to say a militia, but because I know the National Guard's there,
Right.
to help defend them, and the police obviously. But you know, it just makes you wonder, you know, what's going to go down. But that, and then you have the weather where, you know, Buffalo is freezing, not just necessarily freezing cold, just the amount of snow. They can't go out and buy food. They
Yeah.
can't buy necessities. They can't, you know. So if they didn't have food storage, if they didn't have medical supplies like Metal Trooper, or not Metal Trooper, Andrew brought up, if they didn't have those things, you know, what would they do? I mean, like you said, few people die every winter. That's like crazy to me. Like, people die just from the cold. Like, it's not that cold. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. So this shows the importance of preparing, you know, for the worst case scenario, because the people in Ferguson are experiencing it. The people are about to experience it. The people in Buffalo, New York, they probably didn't think in November, early November, that they were going to get 8-9 feet of snow and have to deal with this, right?
Yeah.
But you know, if they're prepared, they have that peace of mind that, you know what, if something like that happens, we're going to be fine. You know, we're going to be able to eat, we're going to be able to survive. You know, I was thinking about my house and how it's set up, and I have food storage, and I have a wood-burning fireplace upstairs, which is actually really heat because, you know, if the heat goes out, I'm assuming that the power has gone out in Buffalo. I couldn't imagine that the lines could handle all that weight of the snow, you know, and they wouldn't be able to get out there and clear off the lines and stuff to prevent that from happening. So they don't have power, and it's cold, it's 23 degrees. You know, how do they heat their homes? Well, do they have a fireplace? Do they have a wood-burning stove? You know, those kind of provisions. Do they have wood for that kind of stuff? It's just stuff to think about, you know, food for thought.
Totally, yeah. I mean, and I think that when you live in a more urban environment, it's easy to think, well, you know, if something happens, I can just go over to so-and-so's, or I can, you know, if I'll just go to this place if I need this kind of thing. But I mean, in a catastrophic event like a giant snowstorm is, everything is on lockdown. And it's a lot harder to get places, and you might not be able to have access to things that you would otherwise assume are accessible.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying, like when I lived down in the South, and I think Stump Greenwood was on here for a while. I'm not sure if he is anymore. South Carolina, they get a little snow. Everyone runs to the store and buys up all the milk and bread, and it's like chaos for an inch, you know.
Yeah, right.
It makes you think about Buffalo, you know. They probably did the same thing, so the stores were probably barren full of food anyway. Not like you can even go buy it because everyone's bought all the essentials.
Right.
Think about it, your milk wouldn't go bad because you could stick it in the snow for cooling, you know. So I don't know. It's good stuff to think about. You know, it's real life scenarios that people always call preppers crazy. You know, you always hear this stuff about, oh, what are you expecting? Some big crazy thing to happen? It's like, well, here's two perfect examples of big emergencies that are happening, and people that are not prepared for it have actually lost their lives, you know. And,
right.
Yeah, it's just something to think about.
Did you guys read the story about the guy from Maine who used a knife to rescue a baby from a car wreck?
No.
It's an awesome story. Just Google like Maine, like the state of Maine, and then knife and baby, and the story comes up about a guy who came upon an accident where a baby was trapped in a car that was flipped underwater, and he went into the freezing water. I think he's a fisherman, and he used his folding knife to cut out the car seat and to rescue the baby.
See, there you go. People will say, why do you carry a knife? You never know if you're going to need to save a baby. Right?
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy. I mean, I'm looking at the story right now, and it says, a man who happened upon a car wreck in a remote area of Maine crawled under an overturned vehicle in a water-filled ditch and rescued a baby girl by cutting off the straps of her seat with his knife. The 3-month-old baby was trapped underwater for a short time and had stopped breathing when Leo Moody of Keene cut her free and pulled her from the vehicle. Another passerby, Wade Shorley, stopped afterwards and performed CPR. So that's what's crazy. There's a guy with a knife who stopped to help and saved the child's life, and then there was another guy who knew CPR. So that girl has got some. Somebody's looking out for her pretty good, I think.
Yeah, I remember reading that.
That's definitely a cool story, man. I like that. That's awesome. So there you go. Well, you never know. You know, there's a reason to carry a knife right there. I've had people, why do you carry a knife?
Oh, yeah.
Like, well, first of all, I use it all the time for things. Like, all the time. And, like, second, well, third, I guess. Second being because I want to. And third because, you know, you never know. Like that. Is that a dragonfly? You're still carrying the dragonfly?
Yeah, another dragonfly. This is a super. Yeah. It's pretty sharp.
Yeah, I heard those things are crazy sharp. I'm carrying the. Did you see my Instagram post today?
Oh no, you got it. Sweet. Which model is that again?
This is the Washington Jack. No, my bad. This is called the Wall Street, the number 99 GEC pattern. So that's actually a lockback. I really dig this one though, dude. It's so nice. It's super thin to carry. It's just nice. I mean, it's pretty. Yeah, I've been on a crazy spree lately with GEC, man. Like you should see some things I've got coming in, and it's been a little crazy. I've had to dial it back a notch because my wife's getting mad.
You know that one video you just did with the camel bone? Is that actual camel bone that's used, or is that just a term used for the type of material?
No, it's actually camel bone, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they used to use ivory a lot.
Yeah.
You can still buy knives with ivory, but President Obama put some sort of restriction on ivory, so they haven't milled as much anymore. So.
Yeah, ivory's been a restricted item since like the late 60s, early 70s.
No, there was some kind of lift on that recently. I was reading this somewhere, and then he imposed something else, so they had to like stop. So the cost of it's gone crazy high.
Okay.
I don't know.
You know, there was like I guess mammoth ivory and stuff. Like if they find mammoth skeletons and stuff. I know there's some places that you can use that ivory. I remember watching the show. I think it was a guy in Russia or something, but he actually goes out and finds these tusks and stuff, and he makes chess sets out of them. It's phenomenal. Really, really cool. I mean, I'm not into chess or anything, but he carves everything out, by hand. Some of it he sells, but sometimes it takes like 6 to 8 months just to carve one set.
Did you say mammoth ivory?
Yeah.
So that's actually one of the materials that one of the a few of those GEC and Northwoods uses mammoth ivory. You can get those now. Why is it called mammoth ivory? It's not like it's from woolly mammoths.
Yeah, actually it is.
I always think about it like woolly mammoth ivory. Whoa, this stuff's got to be rare.
Yeah, it is actually from woolly mammoth. They find the tusks and stuff.
Do they really? So it really is from mammoth.
Yeah.
Wow, I thought they were like pulling my chain or something.
No, it's actual woolly mammoth tusks, ivory.
Sorry, guys, I'm away for a bit. Talk to me about something real quick.
Oh no, it's all good. Yeah, Kelly, I'll send him a text message for you so he can get a hold of you for your address. Anyway, so that was a cool story. Thanks for sharing that, Andrew. There was one. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, speaking of traditional knives, have you checked out the Smith & Sons Mud Bug?
Yeah, that thing's So pretty, man. It's huge though.
Big, yeah. I kind of like big traditional knives. I mean, just I think probably because my dad carried buck knives all the time, like growing up. I've been looking
Yeah.
at that. Seems like a pretty good value for $75. I mean,
Yeah, I like the micarta on it. It's really cool looking.
yeah,
You know, I was tempted to buy one off the exchange off Blade Forums. One came out for sale for a pretty good price, and I was like, "Ooh, I like that." But then I saw how big it was, and I was like, "Holy mackerel, that thing's like carrying his feet around. That's a slip joint, you know."
yeah.
It's yeah.
It
I
seems.
uh,
Oh, go ahead.
I try to stay under 4 inches for knives anymore. I don't know why. I just start carrying smaller knives now.
Yeah. It's funny because I think I gravitate towards larger knives, but I end up carrying smaller. You know, like, oh, a big knife, that sounds like fun, and then it just sits.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've just found that I prefer the small ones. They're just easier to carry. They're lighter. They're just as useful, really. There's not many times where I'm like, man, I really need my big 4-inch blade right now. Well, I don't. And if I do, it's typically when I'm out in the woods, in the mountains, and I carry a fixed blade. So, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
totally. Yeah.
I had a guy, I was reading on the knife forums, and this is one of the things I want to talk about too, since we're talking knives. He was, no, it was it's either Facebook, yeah, it's Facebook. It's one of the Facebook groups I'm part of. It's a knife trading type thing. And he was just going on and had this big rant about Kershaw Blur that he used, and it had the lock failed on him and it closed on his finger, and he had to go to the ER and get all kinds of stitches and stuff. And he said he was using it to skin a deer, I think. And I was like, do you realize that a folding knife is only as strong as its locking mechanism, which means it's weak? You know what I mean? It's going to have a chance to fail on you no matter what you're doing. It could fail, and you take that risk of cutting your finger, because it's a folding knife. It doesn't have, no matter how good the lock is, even a triad lock, those have failed. You know what I mean? Like, it takes a lot. But so one guy's like, I was kind of always raised to use the right tool for the job, and that should have been a fixed blade, And he was just kind of ranting about Kershaw and how this knife, and he'll never trust him again. And I was just like, I didn't say anything, but I liked that guy's comment. Like, I would not have used a folding knife unless I absolutely had to, if that's all I had. But if I was going on a hunting trip, or if I knew I was going to go hunting, I would take a folding knife to skin something. I would take a fixed blade. I just, for me, that's kind of like, that's like saying, oh, I used a slip joint to skin, and some people even said, oh, I've used old timers, I've used a slip joint before, but always understanding that there's a chance I'm going to hurt myself, if I'm not careful. And that it's just one of those things, right tool for the job kind of thing, where Method88's always making funny comments. I'm glad he's in here. I want to talk about his little video he did today. But that I don't know. I've never used a folding knife to do anything like that. I always use fixed blades if it was hunting or if I was in the woods. There's maybe a Swiss Army knife. Victorinox would be great to have in the woods because they've got like a folding saw on them, or something like that. But I know it's a slip joint, so I know it could close on me if I'm not careful.
Yeah. I mean, with something big like gutting a deer or something, it's always good to have more than one knife with you. I mean, because the fixed knife on your belt that you think you'll never lose, you'll lose it, when you're chasing a deer in the dark or something. And maybe you'll need to use that folding knife then. But it's still a matter of having the right backups for the job, right?
Yep.
And being aware of the kind of risks that you undertake when you use something that isn't ideal. I mean, the thing is with skinning knives too is a lot of times they have a blade profile that's suited to skinning, right? I mean, you might have something with the Scandi grind, or you might have something with the kind of belly that's really going to work well for removing a hide. And I mean, those are things that are definitely worth thinking about. I mean, just like you'd want the right tool for the right job all the time.
Yeah, Yeah, and a Kershaw Blur is a great knife, and but it's an EDC knife. It's not. I wouldn't classify it as using it to skin a deer, a hunting knife. I just wouldn't utilize it for that task, and I don't know. I was just a little perplexed. I'm like, dude, you're making this big deal about Kershaw and that their lock failed. And first of all, it's a liner lock, which is,
Yeah.
in my opinion, probably the weakest lock of all.
Mhm.
If I'm going to do anything, it's going to be a lock back or even a frame lock I'd have more confidence in than a liner lock. But, yeah, it's just one of those things. Someone just put something in here in the comments that I was going to comment on. Anyway. Metham88. So I don't know if you guys watch his channel or not. But he pretty much does, pretty much all his videos are 22 ammo scores, which is cool, I watch him. It's funny. And today he did one where he went into Walmart and the guy working there that he's kind of got to know because he buys a lot of ammo there, was saying that some dude was there talking about him and some other guy and saying he was going to report him to ATF for buying ammo and all this kind of stuff. And it's some crazy dude like looking out for him, like he knows what kind of car he drives or something. Or maybe the other guy, I can't remember Metham, but it blew my mind. I was like, people have no life, that they're really sitting around like so concerned about what this guy's doing with the ammo he buys at Walmart. Like, really?
Well, ain't you allowed to buy as much ammo as you want?
No, there's a limit per day. So the guy's just going in there. He's going in and buying his limit. And he does the work, man. He puts in the hours, he puts in the miles, he drives multiple different Walmarts to get his ammo. He puts in the work, and it's like these people that want everything handed to them, and they're just like, well, I just want to be able to go in and buy ammo when I want to. Well, unfortunately, that's not how things are anymore. It's the reality. So if you want to, get some 22, your dog cracks me up.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He can't get comfortable, and he's like, I guess that's his way of bitching to me or something, like move or do something.
That's funny. But yeah, I just thought it was a funny video, and I'm like, I can't believe that some person's like threatening to report him to the ATF or something, like he's doing anything wrong by buying ammo. I mean, it's 22. It's not like he's buying 10,000 rounds of 223, and people are like, "Is this guy a terrorist?" He's buying all this ammo. Like, he's just buying 22, guys. Like, get a grip. I thought that was kind of funny. And when I saw Metham pop in the chat, I had to give him a little shout out and watch your back, brother. Guys watching for you. He says, haters gotta hate. That was crazy. It was crazy. It was stupid is what it was. But you never know.
Yeah, definitely stupid.
Yep. Yeah, I think I'm out of topics here. I can't. Oh, no, there was one other one. I watched a video on Facebook, and it showed some guy being arrested by, and you guys might have seen this. It was on there today, and it might be old for all I know. There's these two police officers in some like diner-looking place, and there was this guy, and he was pretty big. He was a pretty ripped guy, and he was on drugs of some sort, and he was getting arrested for something, and he started resisting, so they tased him. And I swear, when they tased him, it was like it gave him superpowers. He was like, and he started making crazy. He was like the Hulk, man. He got all crazy and like started like punching the cop and like going nuts. And so the other cop tased him, and he still didn't go down. And he was fighting them. He was like throwing punches at the cops, and they were like, "I cannot believe this guy is still going. What is going on?" They go outside, and the people in the diner, like little teenagers, they're filming it on their camera phones, And the guy is still going out there, still punching the police officers. I mean, these cops had to get hit a few times. And this is a big dude. Like, it wasn't, like, they pretty much were getting assaulted by this guy, and they could have had some serious injuries. And they tased him, I'm not even joking you, a third time, and the guy was, like, not going down. It was insane. It was like, you got defective tasers or something? Because those suckers are powerful. Like, I would never want to get tased. And this guy had been on serious drugs. They were on. They said he was on some sort of drugs like meth or something. They weren't sure, but it was just so the whole point. I mean, it was kind of a funny video, but then I thought about it seriously, and I was like, what if one of those cops like, what if that guy went after one of their guns, or you know what I mean, like,
Oh yeah.
them to death? Like, when did they use deadly force? They tried to, just use, the one guy was trying to put the handcuffs on, and the guy was so strong and resisting they couldn't get the handcuffs on. Like, it was two guys were like trying to get this guy's arms behind his back and they couldn't do it. Then he got up and started throwing punches, so they tased him. But anyway, and like, when is the right time, you know what I mean, to use deadly force? Because, and a lot of people in the comments, of course, are on Facebook are like, you should have shot him in the kneecap, like it's the freaking movies or something, It's like,
it's not that bad.
die from that gunshot wound, you idiot. Like, are you dumb? There's a femoral artery right there. Like, you want to shoot that, you can bleed out in minutes. Like, the question was, when do they use? They tried their tasers. They tried physical force. When did they use their guns? When does this guy pose? Did he pose that much of a threat that they could shoot him?
Right.
I think had they shot the guy, I don't think that they would have been prosecuted.
Right.
Because he assaulted them. They tried to tase him. So it kind of brought up to me the whole Ferguson thing, where a lot of people were like, why didn't the cops use a taser on Michael Brown? Why did they immediately go to their pistol? And that guy was a big dude too. He was like a 300-pound man. It's like because that taser might not have dropped him. I don't know. Like, I just saw that video and it's kind of funny, but I thought seriously about it. When is it the right time to use deadly force? When were the cops be justified? When the tasers didn't work and he continued to resist arrest? When he continued to assault them? I don't know.
Well, and I gotta jump in because I actually did my graduate work in philosophy was on the use of deadly force, and I basically wrote a master's thesis talking about some of the principles that are behind self-defense. And there's a huge amount of legal and philosophical theory exploring some of those questions. So there's definitely answers out there, and I think a lot of it has to do with the imminence of the threat and the proportionality of your response. Justice is always about meeting what's due and accounting for what the necessity at hand calls for. And a lot of times, police officers are acting out of self-defense as much as they are trying to implement justice, And so definitely from what I've read from Ferguson, and some of the details, of course, hopefully will become better known over time, or like this incident that you're talking about, if there is a danger of death, even if it's not, by any other means than some guy being crazy and beating people to death, probably reason to justify the use of deadly force, or at least to escalate the situation. Maybe that guy would have calmed down if a cop, had a gun pointed at him. You don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about this dude, because those tasers didn't phase him. 3 of them.
Yeah.
3 times. Like, I don't know how many volts are in each one of those shots, but that's a lot of electricity.
Oh yeah. No, when I was living in California, you'd always hear stories of guys who, got shot 5 or 6 times when they were on crack or something, and they would still be a danger to people even after being shot multiple times. To some extent, it's one of people act like firearms mean automatic death or something, but you have to realize that when you're talking about a very dangerous person who's not acting in a normal way, they might represent the threat of 2 or 3 people. They might not be able to. They might not respond to something like a bullet wound in the normal way. Unless obviously you're shooting them in an extremely vital area or something. Yeah, I don't know. I have friends who are cops, and talking to them about those situations where you're faced with a deadly choice. You've got to be able to recognize when your life's in danger, and there's something difficult about making that decision because you have to live with the choices you make. But these situations are real and they come up. Especially law enforcement or getting out on the front lines. if the cop is acting legitimately to defend himself, then I totally respect that. That's why we have law enforcement, is to protect the populace from people who represent those kinds of grave threats. You guys hear me?
Yeah, sorry, I was reading a comment that Terry Miles put in there that I thought was interesting. In Iraq, they said we had a thing called escalation of force. If we had a car moving toward us at a higher speed and didn't heed our warnings to stop, we had to go through steps before shooting the person or car.
Right.
It's like, but anytime if they got close enough, we could skip those steps and go right to deadly force. So, I mean, watching the video, I don't feel like the guy was kind of out of control, and when he was hitting him, he was like almost using like he was slapping them almost. So I don't know that he was actually causing a lot of damage, to the cops. I don't know. It's hard to say when you're watching a video that someone did on a camera phone. It's it's not the best quality, but it's just that, and Terry Miles brought up a good dang straight, Metham, I am a multitasking machine. I'm not watching the game. I'm actually I'm just having it on ESPN. Anyway, that was one of the topics in the chat. You guys know I watch the chat, so if I look over there, it's not like I'm not listening to you. I'm actually looking at the comments. Hawaii Volcano Squad was saying that the Raiders might get their first win tonight because they were up 17-3, and the Chiefs have now tied the game in the fourth quarter. And I said, quote, at the halftime, there's still a half for them to lose, and there they are, getting close. But yeah, I mean that I don't know. I don't know but whatever happened to like their nightsticks and their their flashlights? Like I think I would have beaten the tar out of that guy with one of those things. He wasn't going down with a taser. Like, why not use that force? You could knock him out without killing him.
Right. Oh, for sure.
Another option, than using your gun. But I don't know. But see, this guy, and I thought about this. If I were not a police officer, and he was acting this way, and he was violently like striking people, and would I, as a concealed carry holder, would I take matters into my hands and put him down because I don't carry a taser? You know what I mean? So I don't have that step. None of us. I mean, how many of us carry a taser? Or even mace. I mean, my wife carries mace. I make her carry mace. She won't carry a gun yet, so I make her carry mace at least. Why didn't they mace the guy? Don't you think that might have put him down? Yeah. You know what I mean? They had a few options. I'm not talking about Ferguson here. I'm talking about this dude that's high on drugs. That's, But we don't. I don't carry. I don't have a Batman belt that I can carry around a taser and let me try the pepper spray first. Oh, that didn't work. Let me try the taser first, and then I'm gonna go to the gun. Like, I don't know.
You sit there for a second. We'll try these different things out. You let us know what's gonna work.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's just interesting.
I think some police don't carry some of that other stuff too, because I know about a week or two ago we had a shoplifting incident, so my buddy went through the security cameras and we found out who it was. Well, he called the police and they came up there and we was talking and I noticed the police officer, all he had was his cuffs, his extra mag or two, and then his pistol. He didn't have anything else on him. Now, he might have had something, in his patrol car or whatever, but I asked him what he carried. He said he carries a Glock, 40 cal Glock, which I thought that was kind of unusual. But because I thought the cops around here all use 9mm.
I think a lot of police officers or a lot of police agencies across the country were on 40 for quite a while. I think they're just now switching back to 9.
Right.
Yeah, but I know like the guys around here are all carrying 9s now, but they used to carry 40s. I think it's kind of like a departmental decision. I don't think unless maybe they as police officers can choose what they can carry, because that's probably common too. Probably cops carry what gun they want to carry. I mean, they want to carry a 50 cal Desert Eagle, they can do that, You imagine a cop rolling in and you see it on his belt and you're like, whoa, this guy's real. Not messing around. Well, anyway, that was the other topic I had. So other than that, I don't really have. Do you guys have any topics? Did we miss anything?
One thing that I thought would be interesting to talk about. Do you guys see the new Taurus curve?
Yeah, that's a good topic. Good. I was actually that's the weirdest looking thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I just seen a picture. I didn't get a chance to read anything about it. They just showed a picture of it. I thought that was pretty bizarre.
I mean, so the idea is they're trying to develop a way to make guns be more pocket carryable by actually tailoring the ergonomics to how it would sit in your pocket. So it's obviously curved. So you basically got a polymer gun that happens to basically be designed to be stick it in your pocket. So it's completely curved. Of course, the barrel and everything else is normal, but and one of the things that's weird about it to me is that it doesn't actually have sights on it. It just has a painted key on the back of the back of the gun that you're supposed to just put on the person that you're going to shoot, and then they have a laser module that they're recommending. So like, I don't have the specs right in front of me, but it's kind of, I mean, obviously, like, I think it's goofy, and especially the not having sights. I really don't know if that's a good idea. I mean, I guess the question that I have for you guys is there any sort of sense to this that makes sense, I guess, or is this just a gimmick?
To me, it sounds like it's kind of gimmicky, but I don't know. I mean, to me, it would. I don't know. To me, I guess because I've never shot a curved gun, but it seems like, you know, it depends on what hand you are, because if it's curved one way and you're, you know, a certain hand, it might not fit in your hand proper, or, you know, it would take a lot of practicing, you know.
Yeah, so
it would definitely.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah, I was just going to say, I totally agree that it's probably practical to practice with the Chupa. What were you going to say, Kevin?
I was just saying that I think that the design of the curve was actually with inside the waistband in mind because of the way your body curves, you know, and that it would kind of hug to your body. I don't know. That's what I read on Guns and Ammo. That I didn't read about pocket. I mean, that's definitely a pocket carry gun though. Like, it's teeny, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has an integrated laser and light on it.
Yeah.
But what happens if that laser runs out of battery when you need to use it? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have any iron sights? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess what they're saying in this article I'm looking at is that it's a point and shoot, you know, up close and personal kind of thing, you know. And plus it's 380, so it's not like it's you know, it's more of a backup gun, you know, type thing. I mean, there's enough small 9mm out there. I don't think we even need any 380s, but you know, sometimes people want to carry like a backup gun, or, you know, that's fine. I used to carry that little Kel-Tec around because it was so lightweight, you know. So I just kind of decided, you know what, I'm just gonna stick with 9 because it's, you know, better caliber. But
what do you think? What do you guys think the future carry guns are going to look like? Like, what kind of things do you expect to see integrated into the kind of subcompact size? Like, that's one thing I've been wondering about. Is, I mean, we've seen some, I think, real advancements, like with the XDS, for example, just in terms of capacity. I mean, we have a lot of options, but like, what's the next generation going to look like? What are your thoughts about that?
I don't know. I mean, I think that there's a huge market for the slim 9mm and, you know, the single stack 9s like the XDS and the SIG 938 and the Shield and all those. Those are probably some of the best selling guns out there, I'm assuming. I don't think you're going to see a lot of change there. I think they might get slimmer, you know, but I think they're going to stay right around that size. I think there is smaller guns in 9mm. There's the Kimber Solo is pretty small, but they're also very expensive. There's who makes that little teeny 9mm? It's a weird name. It starts with an R, and I can't think it off the top of my head. But they're just not very shootable guns. You know, they're not that fun to shoot, and they're not all that accurate. And yeah, it's I don't know. I don't think you'll see much of a change. I think they'll just get slimmer and have the similar kind of capacity. And I think this Taurus personally is just kind of a gimmick gun. I don't think it'll sell all that well, and I'm just looking at this picture, and it literally goes like it's just so goofy. I can't imagine in the hand that it would feel very good to shoot. Like it would just feel so awkward,
People are going to probably buy it just because it's unusual, and it's probably going to end up being a collector's item. Depending on how many they make. Because if they don't make very many, then it'll be a fairly valuable collectible gun.
Yeah.
Terry Miles, that's a great comment. He said, "I think they made it for curving bullets, like in the movie Wanted." Do you guys remember that?
That was the first thing I thought when I saw it too. Yeah. I mean, it's obvious about this. I mean, one thing that's obvious to me is that it's obviously a gun that's going to be marketed to people who have zero experience with guns. So like you'll pitch it like, oh, you can fit it in your skinny jeans, and it's got a laser and a light, so you'll know right where to shoot it. You don't need to have any skills.
That's why there's no sights.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I mean, that's one thing. That's one direction that I've seen the gun industry exploring a little bit that I'm not really super comfortable with. This idea of making guns in such a way that they're trying to sell them to people that without any expectations of or prerequisites about being able to operate a normal firearm. I would never want someone to be carrying a gun like the Curve, who doesn't have experience with regular firearms. It's interesting too, because I feel like this is a problem of Taurus in particular. I've known people. I've got people in my extended family who are not gun people at all, but they've got Tauruses or self-defense in their homes that are so compact because they were sold to them as a gun that you could do anything with. You could carry it if you want. You could use it as a home defense gun, and it's such a simple gun to use that you don't need any skills to have it. And the particular guy in my family who had this gun sold to him by some probably very inconsiderate gun shop owner, but he had an experience where he liked that gun, but he didn't like a 1911. Like the 1911 was harder for him to shoot than this Taurus subcompact. I'm like, whoever was with you when you were shooting those guns did not teach you what you needed to know. You guys there? You're both frozen up.
No.
You froze up on my end, so I don't know. I'm here.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
Typical
yeah, it's crazy. It seems like it always freezes up at right around, after about an hour. It seems like I have trouble for some reason.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's a gimmick again, and I wouldn't condone anyone to buy it. I mean, unless you just had a lot of money and you thought, hey, that's cool, I'll buy it for just to have it, and then that's more power to you. But I wouldn't recommend it for a defensive, handgun, because first of all, I wouldn't recommend too many Tauruses, minus the revolvers. The revolvers are pretty good, but and some other people probably have good. Honestly, I've never had a bad experience with Taurus, but I've heard of people having horrible experiences, and that right there isn't kind of enough for me to. There's better options, for a little bit more money, Yeah. And I think and actually, Andrew, back to your point about what do you foresee happening in the concealed carry, market. I think the lower priced guns. I think that's going to continue to be the trend where the.
Uh-oh.
He froze up.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Right when he was going to make his point.
Damn it, what was he going to say?
Let's make up what he's going to say. So I think the trend is going to be pink guns that shoot flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely what's going to happen.
Rubber bullets.
Yeah, rubber bullets. Bullets that shoot gummy bears.
Yeah.
That was exactly what I was going to say.
Okay, take two. Oh, he froze up again? Oh, crap, this is terrible.
Wow.
Oh, gosh. I don't even know what to say this time. I'm not sure. I'm running out of juice. Metal Trooper, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
Pretty much, I don't know. Probably just like he was saying, it's pretty much the way it's going now. You know, try to keep it under $400. You know, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Do you think that subcompact guns are a trend right now? Do you think that there's like a bubble that's going to blow or something?
I think to some people, it's a good thing. To me, my hands are a little bit too big for a subcompact, so I mean, it wouldn't. I haven't found one that fits my hand that I feel comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have to go with like a compact. But like some of the smaller ones, I mean, it's just my hand, still got like at least 2 fingers, hanging off of the grip. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's some subcompacts out there that still fit you. You know, it's just a matter of finding one.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the Keltec, or that Taurus. That's going to be teeny. But my wife's uncle's a pretty big guy. He's probably 6'6", and he's got like gorilla hands. And he was kind of getting some pointers from me on what gun to get for concealed carry, and I think he ended up getting that Ruger SR9 compact because it's actually got a pretty decent grip on it, even for a big guy like him. So, there's something out there. That's the nice thing. Again, I think you'll just continue to see more and more guns in that market for a good price. So there'll be an option for everyone. That's kind of it's a good place to be at. It's not like it's all Glock and you have to stick with the Glock. For a while there, the baby Glock, the 26, was like the smallest thing out there for quite a while.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That thing is small, but it's a brick. It's thick. It's not that light either. It's these slimmer 9mm are much easier to carry. And I think the slimness is where you really gain the concealability, not so much necessarily the overall size, but how slim the gun is and how it will rise in your waistband.
Right. Yeah.
So there's that new Walther that's supposed to have been out by now, the CCP. That's a concealed carry. It's really thin, single stack, but it's got like some sort of new. It's kind of like the HK P7, if you remember that gun.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
As far as the action on it, and it's not traditional action on there, so but it's like it takes a tool to take it down, and there's some negatives to it, but it's supposed to have the same trigger as the Walther PPQ, which is pretty much the best trigger out there on a striker fired gun. So I'm really curious to check it out once it finally comes out.
Yeah, look.
I don't know when it comes out. It's supposed to have already been out by now.
Did you guys see the Nut and Fancy video comparing the new H&K striker fire gun with the Walther?
No, I've seen a few videos of people done that. Like the Such did it on Sensible Prepper or whatever his channel is. He did that, and so did Mr. Guns and Gear. They both did it.
Okay. I mean, it's one of those guns where, I mean, it seems like the Walther is probably the better value by a long shot. I mean, as far as I can tell. It's an interesting comparison.
It really is. I mean, they all kind of said that the VP9 has a great trigger, but it's just not really any better than the PPQ, and the PPQ is probably $100+ less to buy. But I'll tell you what, the gun that's getting a lot of buzz right now is actually a Turkish-made gun. It's called the Tanik TP9.
Mm-hmm.
And they just came out with a new version called the SA, which is, stands for single action. It's a striker-fired gun, and it's supposed to have as good of a trigger as the Walther or better. And it only costs like $300.
Yeah.
Now it's a full-size gun. I think it has an 18-round magazine. I mean, it's pretty good size. So it's not a concealed carry, but they're saying that it has like an amazing trigger, and that it's gonna really kind of hurt the sales of a lot of those more expensive guns. Even though, and the guys that have tested them they've put quite a few thousand rounds through them without any malfunctions. I mean, they're reliable guns. The company that makes them is actually a Turkish military contractor, and they make military weapons and tanks and all kinds of stuff for a lot of different countries. So they know what they're doing. They're not like some mom and pop shop that's throwing guns together and selling them in the U.S. But it's kind of a new craze, and it just came out in the market, and people were buying them like mad. They're really crazy.
A few big channels reviewing them. They're getting great reviews too.
Yeah, I want to get one because they're only $300.
Yeah.
They reported them. James Yeager did a first video on them on YouTube, and they actually had the representative from Canik with him, and they said originally that it took Beretta M9 mags, and I was like, man, that's gonna sell like hotcakes because those mags are cheap, they're plentiful, a lot of people have them. And I was like, well, I'm buying one. I have an M9. I have the Beretta CX4 Storm that takes the same magazines. I'm like, another gun that I don't have to buy new mags for. Sweet, And then they came out, like, I think it was, who did it first? I think it was Suture, Mr. Guns and Gear. They tested it with a Beretta M9 magazine, and they don't fit.
Oh, no.
So they marketed it to the U.S. market on a pretty good-sized YouTube channel. I mean, Jaeger has probably over 100,000 subs. That it took M9 mags, and when they actually came into the States, they don't. They take a proprietary mag, and it's like, oh man.
Bummer. Here's the third world marketing for you.
Yeah, it'll take this kind of mag. It'll take Glock mags, and it comes over. Just kidding, haha. You bought one, and you can't return guns. So what are you gonna do?
The mags are $120 a piece.
Yeah, no, I mean they're only like the mags are like $25. They're not.
Yeah, that's not bad.
But that whole. What is it? You want to just use that?
Sure.
All right, there's my wife, everyone. You're on camera.
They can see you?
They can see you right there.
Hey.
She needs to borrow my knife to cut open the NyQuil. Don't cut yourself.
Okay. Sorry for keeping you up.
What's that?
I said sorry for keeping you up.
Oh, it's not that late. It's only 9:20 here.
Will you do it, please? I can't rip it open.
Yeah.
It's like impossible.
You didn't cut it? What are you doing?
Yeah. I just need your muscles.
Oh, now you need muscles? Okay. I've got muscles.
You're such a good husband.
I try. I opened her NyQuil for her. She's getting a cold. I feel bad for her. Which probably means I'll have a cold here shortly. That's kind of how it works.
I don't know, NyQuil, that's usually what I take if I start getting one. And I hardly ever get sick. I might get sick like once every 3 years, if that. And, I guess the last time I got really sick was 2012. And the girl I was kind of seeing, she was sick, and she came over, and I took care of her. Well, I ended up getting sick. And but yeah, I went through a couple bottles of NyQuil, and then like 3 or 4 days I was fine.
Yeah, I take a emergency when it starts getting this time of year. I'll take one of those every day, and it's got like 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C or more. Just kind of build up your immune system, and that usually does the trick. But it's hard when you sleep in the same bed as someone and they're sick, and you're like,
Oh, yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
germs galore.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. People were putting in the comments about my wife. Metham88 says we've seen her before. I don't remember my wife being on the chat before. What was she on?
I don't remember ever seeing her.
Yeah. Terry Miles says, hell yeah, Tyler, she's hot. No offense. No offense taken, dude. I don't think you telling a guy that his wife's hot is going to offend too many guys because, you know.
Speaking the truth.
Yeah, exactly. I think she's hot. That's why I married her. Come on. Anyway, someone said they've been sick for 2 weeks. Oh, I hate when you get sick for that long. Oh. Yep. Well, anyway, we might wrap it up. It's been about an hour and a half. You guys, anything else you want to chat about, or before we do that?
Can't think of it.
What about let's do a quick run around on our channels, like anything we have coming up on our channels. If anyone's doing any giveaways or any giveaways you guys know about, and then we'll kind of do another run through who's in the chat, and we'll kind of wrap it up.
Sounds good. I guess I'll go first. I don't have any giveaways planned on my channel for a little while. I'll probably do my next big giveaway when I hit 5,000 subs. But I've got about 815 followers on Instagram, and so when I hit 1,000 followers, I'll probably do something there. So if there's anyone watching on Instagram, you can come look for me. It's just my same channel, 555 Gear. And I've got a lot of watch-related content coming up, which has kind of been the bread and butter of my channel, as well as a couple of knife reviews. And I'm trying to get my hands on the Spyderco Rubicon, but I've got to sell some stuff first. So
I know I've been wanting to check that out, but man, it's pricey. $300.
Like Sebenza, I can't believe it. Like, buy a Sebenza, buy a Spyderco. I don't know.
Like really, like that's what kills me. It's like buy it's made in Taiwan versus, like what you can get for $300. It's just kind of, I don't know.
I mean, if people are saying that it's as good as custom knives, which is crazy to me.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably the initial hype. But anyway, yeah. So that's what I got going on. What do you guys got going on?
What the crap, Metham? Oh my gosh! I don't remember that happening. He said she bent over showing us a down blouse shot. I think she was looking up a bug on the internet. What in the world are you talking about? I did not remember that happening. He said, I got a screenshot. Anyway. Yeah, the Rubicon is interesting, and I like the way it looks, and it's actually a smaller knife, and I'm gravitating towards those now. But at $300, I'm like, geez, I don't know. I'm waiting for one to show up for a good deal on the exchange and maybe grab it and try it out. And I actually heard a guy saying on Instagram he didn't like the way that the lock disengages.
Yeah.
And I've had that problem on multiple Spydercos, like the Gale Bradley, the Domino. I didn't like the way that lock disengaged. The Southern was the Southern was actually okay. I think it was the Domino and the Bradley, and I was like, ugh, like $300 knife to have the lock be weird and is disengaged. Like they think they should,
Totally, yeah.
If you're spending that kind of coin, it should be pretty much flawless, in my opinion. But
completely agree. I mean, there's definitely other knives out there that are perfect. I mean, like your Sebenza had no issues when you got it, right?
Oh, not at all. It's perfect, man. It's like absolutely mint. Like that. I love that knife. Like, can't get enough of it.
Yeah, right. So.
What about you, Metal?
I just got one of my AKs. I'm gonna do some modifications to. It's one of the guns or AKs that came in between '94 and 2004. So it was neutered. So I'm gonna put back some of the parts that it should have came with, and then I got redo some. I redid my Mosin Nagant rifle back to original finish. I used shellac and everything, I got to tweak some of the video and that, and upload that. Then let's see. I'm still waiting on a few things for my other AK builds. I can't think of nothing else. I'm sure there'll be something here and there. I got some more mags I'm wanting to do videos on. I'm just trying to get more information on them as far as the history and stuff.
Well, just to kind of an update. Well, I don't have much going on. I mean, I do have videos galore coming out. Actually, I have like a list of them, and some are already filmed and they're coming out. I'm close. Not quite close. I guess I'm like 43 something subscribers. So I'm gonna do a 5,000 sub contest. I'll probably do a video soon with that. I haven't decided what I'm doing yet though. It's the holidays, so funds are a little tight for that kind of stuff when I got Christmas to do for my kiddos, you know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of hard. And other than that, nothing really going on. Just you'll see a lot more knives, probably a lot more traditional knives. Actually, not probably, for sure, a lot more traditional knives.
Mm-hmm.
A couple new watches they'll do a review on, and I have a custom Swiss Army knife coming. Hopefully, it's sooner than later. The guy told me it was supposed to have been done already, and it hasn't. There's quite a few. There's starting to become more and more modders that will modify Swiss Army knives, kind of put what tools you want in the ALOX models. Have you seen Stick to Drums video on that, Andrew?
Not recently. Is that a recent video?
No, I think it's been a few months. He did a video on. He had a guy, and it's a different guy that I'm going through, but he had a custom ALOX Pioneer made that had like scissors and a few extra things added. And everyone that's like into Victorinox knives and stuff is always like, God, the scissors are so great on them, and they're such a useful thing, but they only ever come on the small models like the classics.
Yeah, right.
Or on the non-ALOX models. There's quite a few non-ALOX models that are 93 millimeter that have scissors. I mean. But so for some reason they keep excluding them on the ALOX models. So anyway, I got one of those coming. That the guy actually added scissors to a Pioneer for me.
Which guy is that?
He's down in Florida. His name's Rick something or other.
Okay.
He's got a Facebook group called iMod Sac.
Oh, okay.
Which is funny because Sac sounds like sack.
Yeah.
But ooh, just a quick game update. There's a minute left, and the Raiders have come back and taken the lead 24-20. But the Chiefs have the ball on the Oakland 45 with a minute left. So this could come down to the wire. The Raiders are 0-10 for those that don't follow NFL football. They have not won a game, and the Chiefs are 7-3, so they're actually a good team.
Oh, man.
So that's interesting. That'd be kind of crazy if the Raiders get their first win.
Right.
But I've got just a few things like that coming up, so nothing too big. But with the holidays, we've got Thanksgiving next week. We're not going to have the chat next Thursday because that is Thanksgiving night. So we'll all be hanging out with our families, and we'll probably have a few times during the holidays where we'll miss the chat too. But I'll make sure we do an announcement or something like that.
Yeah. Have a great Thanksgiving, guys. One thing I wrote down that I forgot to mention is are you guys familiar with designer Mark Newson? He actually works for Apple, and he was the guy behind one of the guys behind the Apple Watch. He designed an incredibly beautiful Beretta 496. So just write that down and look it up because it's like an amazing, a beautiful, almost like basically like a custom-looking shotgun, and it's cool that it was designed by a guy who was working deeply with Apple. So they got somebody deep in their ranks who's a gun guy, I guess.
You say Beretta 496?
Yeah, 496. Beretta 496 Mark Newson. 486. Sorry, not 496.
Okay, I'm like, it's only pulling up like pistols and stuff, and I'm like, I don't even think that's
Yeah, 486.
I just need that. Oh yeah, it's a double barrel, like a side by side.
Side by side, yeah. So it's like a true
Yeah, that's pretty.
side by side with like a lot of laser engraving. But I think the coolest part is some of the lines of the gun are just like super sleek. He did a bunch of
Yeah, that
modifications
is.
to the Kang and stuff.
I bet that's pricey.
Oh yeah, it looks really freaking expensive. But yeah, well, you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I wish you all the best with your families, and hope you guys get some good R&R in. And I look forward to catching up after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for everyone watching. I'll do a quick rundown real quick. Methem88 is saying peace out, Girl Scouts. Dirk Plinkster. We have Kelly Parks. Kelly Parks is in need of some coats. So if anyone wants to get rid of a coat, her daughter and son are in need of coats. Kelly, why don't you let us know what sizes you need? I might have. I don't know if we have anything, but we might have something we can send you. Son wears XL to XXL Nautilus. Yeah, I don't have either of those sizes. I'm sorry, my kids are pretty small.
My kids are
But maybe someone might have those. So we had Terry Miles, Dirk Plinkster, Ben Long, 1018. I already said Methem. Terry Miles again. Trunkback Jim, thanks for hanging out most of the chat. We had Hawaii Volcano Squad, Kelly Parks. I think I already said Kelly Parks. Gear Grinding 19. We had Stump Greenwood, South Carolina for a while there. So thanks everyone for coming tonight. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. 2 weeks we'll see you guys. No chat next week.
Sounds good.
Bye.